Successful. It's a lion nonetheless. As they grow, they learn from their mistakes. They embark on the solitary journey of self. They will find their way, their identity, their inner power to protect the boundary of the lion territory. The badger is an earth animal, relegated to live life in a den. The tales of their ferocity are stories of legend. While they may not win every fight, badgers remind us that above all else, they will never surrender. The battle between a couple of animals today, badgers, lions. Welcome everybody to college football on ABC, presented by Jared's. A cool sky as Wisconsin takes on Penn State. Hey Molly, today's weather makes me think of that song by The Weeknd. I can't feel my face when I'm with you.
That's right. I can't really feel my face right now, Mark, but it's perfect Big Ten football weather. I mean, it snowed earlier today, but a tarp kept the field dry and conditions look good. It's around 30 degrees, but with the wind chill, it feels like 19, and wind gusts getting up to 30 miles per hour. And because of snow and ice on the roads, there have been a lot of car accidents in the area. Some main roads have been closed. I'm told fans and recruits were unable to get here on time. So Wisconsin practiced with crowd noise all week, but that's not as much of a factor early on as fans are still filing in, Mark.
Yeah, this place relatively empty, Molly, and stay warm down there as we take a look at Paul Christ. He has won 40 of his first 50 games on the sidelines for Wisconsin. Meanwhile, Coach Franklin on the other side, his counterpart today, looking to get his team back on the winning side of the ledger in wake of that devastating, disappointing loss last week against Michigan. Wisconsin will kick off. Penn State will receive the opening kick. And Penn State will get the football first. First down and 10 from the 25-yard line. Mark Jones alongside Dustin DeVert. I thought you were going all tough guy on me. You had the coat on, then you took it off.
Coat. Look, you coat, gloves. This is football weather, man. Let's get this going.
You're going to coat shame me like this.
That's right, absolutely.
Hey, today quarterback for Penn State, Trace McSorley getting over injuries. What's he mean to this team and him starting again today?
Well, he means everything. You know, he banged up his knee against Iowa. He was back all week throughout the week of practice, had a great week of practice, looking strong, a huge factor in the run game for this offense.
First down and 10. They're going to run it between the tackles on first down. And that's McSorley. Doesn't really carry a lot of whop with him. He is 201 pounds at 6 feet.
He is a tough, competitive football player. Not very big, 6 foot, just over 200 pounds. But, man, plays much bigger than what he is.
One of the team's leading rushers to the edge. That's KJ Hamler on the outside and makes the reception for the first down. The freshman out of Pontiac, Michigan.
RPO here, one of the options outside. They wanted to get KJ Hamler, their most dynamic wide receiver, on edges, allow him to utilize some of that playmaking ability.
Redshirt freshman with a nice run. They get it out to the edge again, out to the 40-yard line. It's him again. Hamler picks up about 8 on the play.
AJ Hamler, 5'9", 173, the redshirt freshman, dynamic with the football in his hands, got great speed and big play capability.
Penn State going quick. Sorely, this time well read by that Badger defense. DeAndre Tompkins made the reception but was hit immediately by Zach Bond. Third down coming up. 3rd and 3 for Penn State.
Really struggled this year in third down situations. Big third down here early. Playbook wide open. This is where they want to be, third and manageable. Quarterback run game, a big part of what they do in this down and distance.
Sawyer's going to take a sack. Back at the 34-yard line, Bond and Van Ginkel, the first ones to get there.
The outside linebacker, the rush for this team has really been problematic at times, but you're going to see coming off the edge, and Van Ginkel is going to get home as well. Outside backers, Zach Bond makes the inside move outside. Van Ginkel loops all the way around. Excellent pressure on third down by the Wisconsin outside linebackers. Getting Trace McSorley bottled up and on the ground.
Those linebackers are the strength of the defense for the Badgers. A line drive kick, fair catch called at the 22-yard line by Jack Dunn. That's where it's going to be first down and 10 for the Badgers offensively. They have a new starting quarterback this week. His name is Jack Cohn. Alex Hornibrook, the regular starter, did not make the trip, but that is the guy who's the showstopper. He is the quasar of this offense, the leading rusher in the nation, Jonathan Taylor.
The last 2 years, you're not going to find a running back that's been as productive as Jonathan Taylor. Outstanding patience and then vision. And he's got track speed, home run capability at any moment's notice. One thing with Jonathan Taylor, though, he has had a tendency to put the ball on the ground, fumbled at each of the first 3 games, and then it reared its ugly head a couple of weeks ago against Northwestern. Watch ball security with Jonathan Taylor today.
They're going to hand it off to him behind that big offensive line, and he's going to pick up about 2 yards. Johnson making the stop on the play. You mentioned track speed, Dusty. Folks, when you run a 10.5, that qualifies as track speed. I'm talking about in the 100 meters. That's what he did back in high school. A native of Salem, New Jersey. The Badgers have always had good recruiting roots and sources in that part of the country.
Extra big guys in the lineup right now for Wisconsin. A lot of offensive linemen on the field.
On second down, Taylor again over the left side. Out to the 29-yard line, sets up a third down and 2. Farmer making the tackle on the 6-yard gain.
This game will be won by the offensive line and Jonathan Taylor if Wisconsin's going to win it today. Classic power play, the slight hesitation and patience to wait for the hole to open up, but up front, Michael Dieter, Binshaw, David Edwards, Tyler Biadish. Outstanding offensive line, one of the best in college football for this Badger team.
Third down and 2. They run it for the first down and then some. Taylor in the move. Jonathan Taylor is going to house it. Touchdown, Badgers. Amani Oruwariya had a shot at the tackle and couldn't bring him down. And it cost the Penn State D 71 yards.
Massive hole opens up over the middle. It's going to be a power play. Going to bring the tight end, backside guard. And you see the hole open up. And once he sees it, the speed in the open field, you're not going to run down Jonathan Taylor. Huge play to get this game started here at Beaver Stadium.
Wow, that heated this joint up a little bit. His 12th rushing touchdown of the season, the 25th of his career. That's what track speed looks like. Jonathan Taylor out of the blocks, and all they saw was his shoe size after that. Back after this. Back, everyone, to University Park, Pennsylvania. Jonathan Taylor lighting this place up with a 71-yard sprint a moment ago to give Wisconsin a 7-0 lead. 3 plays, 79 yards, and 6 on the board. And Penn State will start off 1st and 10 from their own 25. Back to that play. What was the key, Dusty?
Excellent blocking. I want you to watch the guard, 63, Michael Dieter, come around and get up on the linebacker, 36, Jan Johnson. Key block here, and the big hole opens up. It's a pancake. He kept the wrap tight, got the linebacker on the ground, and you can see a massive hole opens up, and that's all Jonathan Taylor needs. A little bit of daylight, and it's speed in the open field, and you're not going to catch the Wisconsin sophomore running back.
First down and 10. Let's see what Penn State can do to counter on the edge. This is Hamler again. They've been going to him frequently here early in the game. He's brought down at the 27 by Rashad Wildgoose. Gain of about 3 on the play. We spoke with a couple of the Penn State players, including Trace McSorley, and he told us that there wasn't going to be any kind of hangover after that Michigan loss last week. A game in which, frankly, they were handled pretty easily. Second down and 8. McSorley incomplete near midfield, intended for Hamler. Wild Goose there to help break it up. And in a blink, it's 3rd and long again.
Trace McSorley fortunate there. He's looking for his go-to target. KJ Hamler working out of the slot. Pass thrown behind him. Rashad Wild Goose almost able to get his hand on that football.
Got a player down at the 25-yard line. A Badger player injured. We'll check on that and tell you more about it on the other side.
College football on ABC is presented by Jared. Dare to be devoted. And in part by Domino's and Coca-Cola. Hot Domino's pizza and ice-cold Coca-Cola. Order this perfect combination for game day.
The Department of Meteorology and Atmospheric Science at the Pennsylvania State University is world-renowned, folks. 1 out of every 4 meteorologists in the U.S. come from Penn State's Department of Meteorology. And you don't have to be a weatherman or weather woman or weather person to know it's cold out here today, partner.
It's cold and windy, my friend.
There you go. Absolutely. The wind seemed like it might have impacted that last pass by McSorley, at least just a little bit. 3rd and 8 here. Has time. A little bit of contact and a flag thrown as he looked KJ Hamler's way again. He was working against Rashad Wild Goose, the true freshman. And Hamler looks like he's going to come off the field. A little shaken up.
Pass interference. Defense. Number 5. Automatic. First down.
KJ Hamler working out of the slot, been the go-to target so far today for Trace McSorley. Man-to-man coverage with Wild Goose.
Coach Franklin
he made the call for him.
Yeah. Helped out the official a little bit.
Hamler was able to beat Wild Goose initially off the line of scrimmage, got past him, and then Wild Goose trying to recover. Too much contact. A good call by the official.
Wild Goose, one of those freshmen that's made a nice rise up the depth chart. Wasn't a starter at the beginning of the season. A true freshman out of Northwestern High School in Miami, Florida. First down and 10. Going to hand it off for the first time today to Miles Sanders. And Sanders lowering his pads and putting his hat down, picking up 11 for the first down. Hicks making the tackle on the play.
You know, Saquon Barkley left last year, but Miles Sanders has stepped in and had a very nice season. Athletic, thick, and a strong runner. You saw the bounce to the outside for a nice first down.
First down and 10, they go quick and run it at just outside the 40 to the 41. Sanders again. Good block from Minette up front. Now he's coming off the field, limping. Second down and 4 for the Lions. Jorney Brown coming in for him. Brown, number 32. McSorley, well defended and tackled at the 39-yard line by Zach Brown. He didn't go for the pump fake. He's going to set up a 3rd down and short.
No, and that's an area that Trace McSorley's really improved upon, understanding where there's nothing down the field, when to step up in the pocket and try to make something happen with his legs. That's an excellent open field tackle by Zach Bond. He doesn't make that play. A lot of green grass in front for Trace McSorley.
Gets rid of it quickly this time. Hamler back in the ballgame, gets the first down. And inside the 30-yard line, Freiermuth sprung him loose with a good block out in front and a 10-yard gain.
Now, outstanding job blocking on the perimeter. You'll see the cluster outside, just going to be a little screen to KJ Hamler, and it's outstanding blocking in front. Freiermuth, the tight end, as well as your running back Brown in there, and several good blocks outside to key that first down game.
Penn State's offense been outscored 56-10 in the last several quarters. Miles Sanders back in the ballgame. He's a tailback. McSorley looking downfield. Caught at the 13-yard line by Freiermuth. Blocking, catching, 17 yards. and a first down.
Well, he's a true freshman, but he plays much older than that. A big catch radius, and he's tough to deal with. He's just going to follow K.J. Hamler, work a little corner route. Excellent throw and catch as Dakota Dixon, the senior safety, gets there just a touch late. Freiermuth become a big weapon for McSorley in this Penn State offense.
You really like him when we saw him on tape, huh?
Excellent blocker, and then he catches the ball. What, the play before he helped spring that play for Hamler, then a nice catch down the field.
Sorley into the end zone. Touchdown! Tompkins with the catch. And what an answer by the Nittany Lions.
Excellent answer by Trace McSorley in this Penn State offense. Trace McSorley, I like his eyes. He looks like he's going to Freiermuth. You see the corner jump up on that route, and then it's an outstanding throw to DeAndre Tompkins in the end zone to put Penn State on the board. Well done by the senior quarterback, manipulating the coverage with his eyes to help his receiver get open.
His 13th touchdown pass of the season. 72nd of his career. And we're knotted at 7 apiece. They scored on 62 of the last 65 trips in the red zone. And it's turned into Happy Valley once again here. Well, the mood decidedly lighter after that touchdown. Happier in other Happy Valleys, Oregon, England, Hong Kong Island. Dusty, I think they need to dispatch us to Queensland, New Zealand to check that one out. That looks like one of the more exotic trips out there.
Sign me up for that. You got the airfare?
Company business. Got to find a way. Tied at 7 and a pretty good response by Penn State.
Trace McSorley looking like the veteran senior quarterback that we've grown accustomed to watching. Nice job locating his targets down the field. Throwing the football with a lot of confidence here early on in this game.
Cruikshank from the 1. He's brought down at about the 17-yard line. Let's go downstairs to Molly, who has an update on Van Ginkel.
Yeah, that's right, Mark. Andrew Van Ginkel had medical training staff tending to his right ankle, and this is the same ankle he injured earlier this year. He wasn't productive early on. He just got healthy again and then re-injured that same ankle. I'm told he's good to go back on the field, but he's not at 100%.
All right, Molly, and we were mentioning that the linebackers are the strength of that Wisconsin defense. He's a key part of that core.
Added offensive lineman in the backfield for Wisconsin here on first down.
Couple of linemen that line up as tight ends. Jonathan Taylor creases it again and gashes them up the middle out to the 45-yard line. Erdman was in there at number 96, a backup offensive lineman.
Yeah, they are not afraid to put 7 different offensive linemen in the formation if necessary. Big on big. You see the big boys open up a little bit of hole. That's the patience and the shiftiness we've seen from Jonathan Taylor. All he needs is a little bit of a hole. Nice job up front by the big boys for Wisconsin.
And Erdman still lining up in the backfield. Number 96. They bring him across the formation. Taylor trying to get to the perimeter and tackled at about the 45-yard line. A gain of 1. Wisconsin, of course, has a history of stellar offensive line play and talented offensive linemen. And it's no secret what they're going to do coming into a game like this.
Roll your sleeves up, put your big boy pants on, and get ready to play some old school throwback football. That's what it's about with Wisconsin. Now, they're going to play action. They'll throw it some, but they want to win this game at the line of scrimmage with the running back, Jonathan Taylor.
Warnerbrook did not make the trip. Cone takes the snap at quarterback. Fires complete to the outside. Number 3, Kendrick Pryor makes the reception near the first down. Tonight right here on ABC, this one's got college football playoff implications, folks. It's the ACC Atlantic battle between Trevor Lawrence and number 2 Clemson and number 17 Boston College in Chestnut Hill. 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific on ABC and live on the ESPN app, so you can watch the game anywhere. Number 2 against number 22. I'm impressed that Molly's been able to keep her biased opinions to herself this week, being a BC grad.
Big game, Chestnut Hill. It's a good Clemson team, though.
3rd down and 1. Fumble, Cone put it on the ground. And Penn State recovers it. Gross Matos got there and pounced on the loose ball.
You go back to Northwestern, Cone put one on the ground. He fumbled the snap. He actually regained it, and then he refumbled it for a turnover in that game. And here early on, ball security such a key with a young quarterback. Quarterback-center exchange just not there. Cone tries to get on top of it. Give Yetur Matos a ton of credit for getting on that football. That's what you worry about with an inexperienced quarterback going on the road, just that quarterback-center exchange.
And Sorley out to the edge. That's Sanders. And Sanders pushed out of bounds at about the 45-yard line, about 3 yards shy of the first down. Pickup of 8. And the good news is, as Molly reported a moment ago, Van Ginkel is back in the ball game at linebacker, number 13, for Wisconsin.
They need him physical in the run game, one of their better pass rushers off the edge. Different quarterback in right now. We got Tommy Stevens, much bigger. He loves to run the football when he's back there.
No surprise that he gets in and he keeps it himself. He's going to be brought down a little bit shy of that first down marker by Henningsen, pardon me. A Cone on the sidelines. Fumble of a moment ago, and now McSorley comes back into the ball game for Penn State. Handoff to Sanders, and Sanders hurdling his way to a first down. He went right over the top of Faion Hicks.
Well, it's their bread and butter play. It's the inside zone. And Miles Sanders just stays with it. Nothing's there inside. He continues to bounce, stay on his feet. And look at the athleticism. Go up over the top of the defender, Faion Hicks. Outstanding run with some hops there from Miles Sanders.
4 minutes to go. First down and 10. McSorley gets rid of it quickly, complete at the 30. Dotson, the true freshman, tackled right near that first down marker. Jahan Dotson, very talented athlete, a guy that's coming on quickly.
The last few weeks, he's really starting to emerge as one of the go-to targets in this Penn State offense. Speed, talent, a good route runner.
2nd and 1, they hand it off to Sanders, and Sanders picks up the first down. Folks, you can stream college football all season long on ESPN Plus, so start your free trial today by downloading the ESPN app or visiting ESPNplus.com.
I think Penn State's done a really nice job of here early on is getting into their tempo. They're going with an excellent pace and keeping Wisconsin on their heels.
Sorley fakes the handoff on the jet sweep. Wisely throws it out of bounds. Live to play another day, another down, 2nd down and 10 coming up. Sorley sat a couple of years behind Christian Hackenberg, 2-year starter. Dad Rick played football at Richmond, where he played defensive back. Journey Brown now in the backfield on 2nd down and 10. McSorley out of the pocket. Flag down. McSorley down at the 20-yard line. Zach Bond making the tackle on the play for Wisconsin.
Holding. Offense. Number 66. 10-yard penalty. 2nd down.
Dusty, that RPO game is a big part of what Penn State does. And it's kind of like point guard playing basketball, right?
Yeah, you got the ball. You're the point guard, right?
Yeah.
I mean, depending on how the defense is going to play you, the RPO game's always got an option to where the defense isn't. So if the defense wants to overcommit and play the run, you've got an opportunity for the quarterback to run. If the defense wants to come up and you got options outside, then you can pick up the ball and you can throw it. Very similar to playing point guard. The ball is alive and just find the open man, find the open space within this offense.
And McSorley with some good decision-making so far in this game. Gets rid of it. Complete to Tompkins at the 31-yard line. Of course, point guard takes a lot of the blame, right? A disproportionate amount sometimes if you don't make the right decision.
As does quarterback, though, right? I mean, that's just part of it.
3rd down and long. Sorley steps up. Incomplete, in and out of the hands of Tompkins. And it's 4th and long with just under 2 minutes to go. They are in field goal range for Pinniger, who has a long of 49. It's a little bit windy today. That might impact the decision of head coach Franklin.
Nice job there with the controlled rush by Wisconsin. Andrew Van Ginkel was coming off the edge. He shut down his rush when Trace McSorley tried to step up. It was tight coverage on the outside. Nice job by the Wisconsin defense to get off the field after the turnover.
Pinniger going to attempt this field goal from 49 yards out. This would tie a season long for him. A low line drive kick. Got enough juice. And Penn State leads 10-7. That kick didn't have a lot of elevation, Dusty, but it had enough distance.
All that matters if it gets past that crossbar, right? He had just enough to put the Nittany Lions on top here at home for the first time. That's a turnover that leads to points. Such a key, man. When you can get a takeaway, take advantage of a mistake by the Wisconsin offense, you've got to turn that into points in a game like this. Nice job by Pinniger being able to make a tough field goal in these conditions.
Now 10-14 on the season. Wisconsin still with a very good shot at the Big Ten's West Division, but they need some dominoes to fall their way.
Northwestern on the road today at Iowa.
Big game in Iowa City. As for Penn State, their aim right now, potentially a 10-win season. They can finish out with 9 during the regular season, then a bowl game.
I think that's big for college football programs. There's something to be said about a 10-win season. Both of these programs, very proud programs, still in play to win 10 games with a bowl. Whoever loses, that's off the table, partner.
Crookshank from the 3. Boy, still on his feet miraculously. And finally tackled at about the 32-yard line. As we take a look at the standings in the Big Ten Conference, you see Wisconsin 4-2 in the West. Iowa hosting Northwestern, who leads the division. And then Penn State at 3-3.
Wisconsin, Purdue coming up next week as well. So there's a lot of these games still left to be played out, but what a race it's been in the Big Ten this year.
4 Big Ten teams ranked in the college football playoff. Jonathan Taylor, folks, has already gone over 100 yards. His 19th of his career. He's got 5 rushes for 111 yards now. Molly?
Mark, Penn State's defensive line was completely focused on slowing down Jonathan Taylor when they were here on the sideline. Coach is telling them, you can't give up those big run plays. Don't be worried about the outside run. He's just running inside the hash. They told him, you just need to survive 1st and 2nd down. And Dusty has pointed out that Taylor isn't in much on 3rd downs.
Well, it's been good blocking up front But Jonathan Taylor's been fantastic so far. The patience, we know about the speed in the open field. Give him a little bit of daylight, and he can take it the distance. Jonathan Taylor, one of the most explosive and electric running backs in all of college football. Didn't take him long to get his 9th 100-yard game of the season as John Dietzen goes down on that last run, left tackle for the Wisconsin Badgers.
Ball's at the 35-yard line. Cole Van Lanen comes in to replace him, number 71. 2nd down and 7. Tywan Deal, number 28, giving Taylor a breather in the backfield at tailback. He takes the handoff. And he's met short of the first down at about the, just over the 40-yard line by Nick Scott. And Kevin Givens, Nick Scott, number 4, the starting safety, one of the leaders on that Penn State defense, and actually one of the leaders on the team. They don't have a lot of seniors, so they do an inordinate amount of the leadership skills and duties. And he had some impactful words for his team. He said, hey, we win together, we lose together, and we're not into pointing fingers. Third and 1. Oh, good surge up front by that Nittany Lion defense. Deal was stopped short of that first down.
But it's outstanding job by Yetur Gross Matos. Has been fantastic for this Penn State defensive line the last several weeks. Excellent get-off plays on the other side of the football, and a big 3rd and short. That penetration helped get a big stock for this defense.
4th down. Connor Allen punting to DeAndre Tompkins, who calls for the fair catch at the 14-yard line. They'll start 1st and 10 from there in the 2nd quarter. And in the battle between the Badgers and the Nittany Lions, the Mountain Lions strike first and lead after Chapter 1. Back after these messages and a word from our ABC stations. Everyone, you're watching the Big Ten on ABC. Penn State with a football, 1st down and 10. Penn State football family at large with heavy hearts this week. Waiting by a field goal in the football game here. Pass complete out to the 18-yard line. Complete to Sanders. Well, Wally Triplett, the first African-American to play football at Penn State, passed away several days ago. He was part of the foundation of the mantra, "We are Penn State." It goes back to a time when Penn State was asked to play a football game in Miami, and they said that we wouldn't come unless, as McSorley runs for the first down, unless Triplett was allowed to play, because back then football had not been integrated, and because Triplett, an African-American, wasn't allowed to play, school president said, "We are Penn State, we're not going." The subsequent year, invited to play in the Cotton Bowl, and you see Triplett on the left, number 43. They were actually able to play in the game in the Cotton Bowl and stayed on a nearby naval base, which housed the team. But that bonding and togetherness leading to the "We Are Penn State" battle cry you often hear. That pass complete to KJ Hamler. Out to the 33-yard line. And much love to the pioneers and the groundbreakers that, tell you what, took a lot of courage, folks, back then to go through what they went through. Brave people like Wally Triplett. Sanders on the carry.
Well, Mark, in that last commercial break, they had on the video board a video of Wally Triplett speaking to the team, leading the team in a "We Are Penn State" chant. And then the entire stadium decided to go into a "We Are Penn State" chant after that. So although he has passed, he is still a fixture and an inspiration to this community.
Great stuff, Molly. 2nd down and 5. Sorley with plenty of time down the middle, in and out of the arms of Freiermuth. Usually dependable, but that time dropped it. And it's 4th down as a result.
Was excellent job protecting Trace McSorley. He had all day in the pocket to throw the football. He goes to one of his favorite targets in the middle of the field, Freiermuth, working on the savvy veteran Dakota Dixon. And that's a pass that Freiermuth's going to wish he had back. He had inside leverage. Pass was on target. Just a drop by the true freshman tight end.
Blake Gillikin punting, averaging 43 yards per punt on the season. Hasn't had any blocked. A line drive returnable punt. Back at the 21-yard line, that's Jack Dunn. And Dunn is tackled at the 26 by the Nittany Lions. A 44-yard punt, 4 on the return. Well, tomorrow is Veterans Day, so it's fitting that we have the Cadets of Army squaring off against Coach K's 4th-ranked Blue Devils at Cameron Indoor. Our coverage tips at 1 p.m. Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app, so you can watch the game anywhere. And Duke has been extremely impressive. They destroyed Kentucky.
Wow. How talented is that freshman class? Zion Williamson? Hey, he can play some tight end out here.
Perfect, right?
That guy is freaky athletic. Coach K's got a squad.
6'5", 270. Jonathan Taylor between the tackles. Picks up a couple of yards, swarmed by Ellis Brooks in the middle. Jonathan Taylor initially committed back in 2016 in early May to Rutgers State University in New Jersey, where he's from and where he attended high school. But then 3 weeks later, Wisconsin offered. He decommitted from Rutgers, ended up committing to Wisconsin. And authoring a pretty productive career so far, 2 years in.
They knew from day one, going back to last spring, the first time he touched the ball, they knew they had something special with Jonathan Taylor.
Looked like he was going to throw it, then sprints and is brought down about 4 yards short of the first down. What do you make of the job that Cone has done so far filling in for Hornibrook?
Well, they haven't asked him to do a whole lot, especially today. Only a few times he's dropped back to throw the football, but I think he's done a nice job. Throws the ball well, and he's actually probably a better athlete than Alex Hornibrook. Don't be surprised today if he doesn't fully trust what he sees down the field, if he just tucks the ball as we saw on that second down and gets whatever he can get. Good athlete, Jack Cone.
Making just his second career start. Started a couple of weeks ago at Northwestern. Sacked! Back at the 22-yard line. Shaka Toney. Sharif Miller also there.
Yeah, Sharif Miller, one of the more talented defensive linemen in this conference. Watch him work off the edge, and he's able to get a win. He's going to work inside of Edwards, the offensive tackle. Edwards goes out, the protection's confused, and Sharif Miller, one of the best defensive ends in the Big Ten, with a big sack on third down.
High spiral. All the way back at the 40, caught by DeAndre Tompkins. So Penn State, after the 36-yard punt, will have good starting field position, leading by a field goal with 10:49 to go in the first half. Oh, dig in, Dusty. That's your kind of dish right there.
I can do some mac and cheese.
Well, this season, Taco Bell is celebrating student sections and passionate fans like the Nittany Lions by awarding the best student section of the year. Go to ESPN.com/Taco Bell to see if your team made this week's rankings and see how your school can compete. Molly, bring us up to speed on some of these great fan bases after this play here as Sanders gets around the corner and takes it down to the 41-yard line. How are these rankings going?
Well, Mark, I am proud and honored to be a part of the selection committee for the student section rankings, also with Reese Davis and Marty Smith. And the number one ranked student section for the past 2 weeks since our rankings came out has been Penn State in their fan section. So we're definitely keeping an eye on them today.
Yeah, they're showing up today despite some of the circumstances. That pass incomplete, dangerously so, intended for KJ Hamler. That thing floated out there a little bit.
Wild Goose comes up with a big hit with a pass breakup. That's a little off target by Trace McSorley. Molly, what separates Penn State from everyone else? I mean, I'm getting a feel of it for the first time today. They are pretty legit, but what puts them at the very top, in your opinion, Molly?
They're loud. They're very active on social media. And anytime you get a fan section that camps out overnight in the cold in order to get their spot, they're going to be considered just for that, their dedication.
Yeah, Molly, full votes. And much love for them doing that. That pass complete to Shorter. And their mac and cheese game is real fire, too. We saw that during the commercial.
That's the key, right?
Third down. 3rd and 7 from the 40-yard line. Penn State leading 10-7. Just under 10 minutes to go, trying to bounce back from that loss last week against Michigan. Coach Franklin said each time we've lost like that, we've been able to go on a run. And off of a good move by Sanders in the clear. Pushed out of bounds at about the 17-yard line. Got the first down and hit Nelson with that sauce.
Well, I like Trace McSorley. We talked about being a point guard. He recognizes the defense. They check into this play. And I love the cut here by Sanders. Look at that cut. Cut twice, puts that foot in the ground, gets outside. And a nice pickup on 3rd and long. Again, though, what the defense showed allowed Penn State to get in the right play and set up a nice run for a first down.
Miles Sanders, the guy filling in for Barkley, making a name for himself. Back after this.
College football, presented by Jared on ABC, is brought to you by Pacific Life. Experience the power of Pacific. Nissan, innovation that excites. And Sling TV, the live TV you love with no long-term contracts.
Berkey Creamery is the largest on-campus creamery in the U.S. Established 1865. 2 rules, folks. No mixing flavors and only blue and white sprinkles, like you can see right there. Now, the ice cream is so fresh, it's only 4 days on average between the time it comes out the cow to your lips on that cone.
That's some fresh ice cream.
That's fresh.
Don't be mixing it either. It's only happened one time.
Yes. First down and 10. McSorley throws it back. Wide open. Freiermuth just shy of the end zone. Nick knocked out of bounds by Dixon at the last minute.
I love the play design. You're going to see him go over here, and then it's a misdirection. You're going to roll one way, and you see Freiermuth come into the screen, go all the way across the formation. Nobody accounts for him in the coverage. Easy pitch and catch for Trace McSorley.
1st and goal. Sanders straight ahead. Stopped up at about the 1-yard line. Sanders, a guy renowned for breaking tackles. Coach Rainey, his offensive coordinator, says he'll put him up against anybody in the conference. Second and goal. Sanders over the top. He got in. Touchdown.
Penn State's bread and butter, the inside zone. We've seen Miles Sanders show his athleticism. Hurdled the defender earlier. He only had to get a yard, so he goes up top, leaps over the defense, and gets into the end zone for another Penn State touchdown.
That's his 9th rushing touchdown of the season. Sanders, the 12th of his career. Penn State. Oh, they missed the extra point. Vinegar missed the extra point off to the right. Just you said only one other person had broken the rules. As Sanders gets the touchdown. That guy who broke the rules mixing sprinkles? The former president, Bill Clinton. Presidential power, I guess.
Want more stats? Hey Siri, who leads college football in rushing yards?
The answer's Jonathan Taylor, of course, Siri, if you didn't already know. Siri's pretty versatile. You can ask Siri a lot of things, and Siri come up with the right answer most of the time.
Siri's smart.
Yeah. glad Siri can't call games. Be out of a job or in trouble, at least.
Siri, could we get a running back comparison? Both running backs have done a nice job today. Jonathan Taylor with a big touchdown early in the game, and Miles Sanders has answered back with several nice chunk runs and a quality touchdown. Both these running backs today, partner, they've been impressive.
Yeah. There's Sanders getting a breather. You get the feeling he might have heard a lot of the hype surrounding Taylor today and wanted to show out as Taylor runs it out near the 30-yard line. Picked up 5 on the play. Brought down by Jonathan Sutherland. Taylor coming off of a 217-yard game last week. But what's that like, Dusty? You play the game. You guys hear that stuff in the locker room, social media now. You hear all this talk about one guy. You're like, hey, how about me, right?
Hey, man, you're always looking for respect out there. What better way to earn respect than to outperform the nation's leading rusher in Jonathan Taylor?
Nope.
Taylor again. He's going to set up a 3rd down and about 3 to go. Windsor making the tackle on the play for Penn State.
Penn State gave up that big chunk run early on that first 3rd and short, but since then, his defensive line has done a nice job winning at the point of attack. Linebackers getting off of blocks, and they really bottled up this Wisconsin rushing attack for the most part. It's a crucial 3rd and 3 for this Wisconsin offense here early.
Brent Fry, the defensive coordinator, watching on. Cone, get a pass. Complete. And that's going to be a 1st down for the Badgers. A nice conversion. And the catch made on the play by Penniston, the tight end.
Like the composure of Jack Cone within the pocket. The pressure was coming. They're going to heat him up. 4-man rush. You see Sharif Miller went inside again on David Edwards. He gets a nice hit on the quarterback. Jack Cone stood in there, delivered the pass to move the chains for his offense. Well done by the young quarterback making his 2nd road start.
This place a little bit different from Northwestern. When it comes to crowds, Cone going to pass again. And that's going to be incomplete at the 37-yard line. Jonathan Taylor dropped the pass.
You know, we've talked so much about what Jonathan Taylor provides for you in the run game. Some things he needs to work on moving forward, catching the football. Okay, he's got to be able to complete that catch. He's wide open. It hits him in the hands. He's got to be able to complete that catch. And we also mentioned earlier off the top, he's had some fumble issues, so ball security, another one of the things Jonathan Taylor is going to have to continue to work on and progress moving forward.
2nd down, a little movement on that offensive line on the right side.
False start.
Benshaw.
Offense, number 66. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
Talk about Cone making his 2nd road start. Cone is a teenager growing up in Sayville, New York. Actually threw and worked out for Phil Simms, the former New York Giant. He's a friend of the family, friend of his dad. He frequently still keeps in contact with him. Low snap. They got the handoff to Groshak. Boy, good job by Crone to field that errant snap.
That ball was low on the ground. Cone went down. He was able to get it. Nice job defensively once again. Looked like Kevin Givens, a defensive tackle, with some penetration inside to help stuff that run. You mentioned Jack Cone still works with Phil Simms. Actually worked with him this past offseason, going back to high school, and still goes back and gets his work in for the former New York Giants quarterback.
Always good when you have a Hall of Famer in your corner.
It's a tough spot for Jack Cone. 3rd and super long.
Empty formation by the Badgers. You don't see that often. Cone sacks back to the 20-yard line by Sharif Miller. His 5th sack of the season.
Well, Sharif Miller has been a man possessed here early on in this football game. Going to see a nice twist game up front. This is a Tex game, and he's going to start up, and he's going to come inside. Tackle's going to get up the field. The defensive end's going to come inside. You see him work on Benshaw. He's got the power, knocks the guard to the ground, and gets to the quarterback. Outstanding job with the twist game by the Penn State defensive line.
That punt out of bounds. Boy, what a move and hit Sharif Miller put on Benshaw. Yeah. Palms raised to the heavens, figuring, what's up? Wisconsin's asking the same thing.
Playoff Top 25 Ranking Show, Tuesday at 9 on ESPN.
You're watching college football on ABC, presented by Jared. Part of Veterans Week on ABC, brought to you by USAA. Penn State with lead, first down and 10. McSorley going to keep it. Good decision, makes it out beyond the 40-yard line. A gain of 6 on the play. This week, college football playoff ranking brought to you by PlayStation 4. Alabama, Clemson with a big one tonight at BC on ABC.
Ohio State at Michigan State right now. 0-0 late in the second quarter.
Pass complete to the edge. Sullivan Brown making the reception. Well, you talk about teams that have been nicked up and injured this year. We had Michigan State recently. Can't remember a time when I've seen so many guys injured. We have a new quarterback in Tommy Stevens. Is going to take the snap. McSorley flanked out wide to the top of your screen. Stevens keeps it as we go back to the studio and Matt Berry. Matt? All right, Matt, 2nd and 7 here. Stevens still in at quarterback, and this time sacked back at the 42-yard line by Ryan Connolly, who leads the team in tackles coming into the game this afternoon.
Instinctive downhill linebacker, and you're going to see him here on the blitz. Comes right now. Cross stunt with Edwards, and Connolly comes clean. I love how he comes to balance as Stevens tries to break the pocket, and he gets the quarterback to the ground. A couple of excellent senior linebackers have really been the linchpins of this Badger defense, in T.J. Edwards and Ryan Connolly with a sack there.
Sets up a 3rd and 17. McSorley back in at quarterback. Fires, complete over the middle for the first down, and then some. Dotson, the true freshman, all the way down to the 27-yard line.
Well, it all starts with the protection. Only a 3-man rush, plenty of time for McSorley to survey the field. Steps up in the pocket, and just enough time for Dotson, the true freshman receiver, to break open on the dig route. And then he runs away from the coverage in the open field. Big-time pickup on 3rd and long.
Backside pressure, McSorley going to get sacked back at the 35-yard line by Zach Bond. And McSorley is slow to get up. Remember, folks, he's been battling an injured knee. Struggled last week. And he appears to be favoring his knee.
Not a good sign for Trace McSorley. Zach Bond, an outstanding rush off the edge. He beats Will Fries off the edge. Fry's going to come in off the left side of your screen. There whenever he gets there for the sack. Trace McSorley's in a lot of pain. You can see the look on his face right there as he grabs that right leg with the brace.
Quarterback's blind side always leaves him a little bit vulnerable.
Zach Bond's really been coming on as a pass rusher. Excellent job turning the corner on Fries, and we see Trace McSorley limping off. Not a good sign for Penn State in this offense.
Yeah, he's already wearing that knee brace on his right knee. The one that he injured. 2nd down and 18. Tommy Stevens has already had a bunch of touches at quarterback here this afternoon, so he'll be taking the next snap.
Talking with the coaching staff yesterday, they felt that he's really progressed mentally, and they think that, he's more than ready to be able to step in and take as many snaps as this offense potentially needs. Could be quite a few the rest of the way here, partner.
Yeah, 2nd down and 18. Predetermined quarterback run down to the 34-yard line. Connolly making the tackle. 3rd down and long. Both teams timeouts remaining.
I wonder if Wisconsin may want to use a timeout at 3rd and 17. Clock just ticking if you're Penn State. Utilize some of this clock here. The backup quarterback in.
Right on the fringes of field goal range for Jake Pinniger. Made one earlier from 49 yards out. Stevens with the pump fake. Now he's going to take off. Good runner, clipped right near the sidelines, and a flag thrown. That hit might have been a little bit late.
They brought pressure inside. T.J. Edwards comes on the blitz. They flush Stevens outside the pocket.
The runner was still in bounds. There's no foul for a late hit.
Yeah, I was going to say that there's no way that's a flag. That's a good job by the officials getting together, waving that flag. Van Ginkel was just hustling over the sidelines. I thought that contact was still while Stevens was in the field of play. So it's a good no call or waving off the flag by the officials.
And we're looking at a 4th down from the 27-yard line, and the offense still on the field. They're 6 of 13 on 4th down conversions this year. Gonna go for it. Play clock at 4.
False start. Trying to move.
One of their own guys.
Offense, number 87. 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
You're supposed to draw the other team offside, Dusty.
Yeah. Sometimes you not think yourself. You want a hard count. You want to see if you can get that defense to jump off sides, give you some free yardage. But it's a true freshman tight end up top of your screen. He's going to move. Prior to the snap.
Back it up to the 32. They're going to punt it. Blake Gillikin on the Penn State 43. And it's going to be downed inside the 10-yard line at the 6. 1st and 10 from there. Kick off your Week 10 with Sunday NFL Countdown. One-on-one with Aaron Donald, the NFL's best defensive player, who shares his secrets to sacking the quarterback. Plus, 9 months after the Super Bowl, the stories of a magical night in Philly that has filled the maternity wards with babies named Nick, Carson, and even Lily. I got to see that one. Sunday NFL Countdown at 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN.
Those Eagles fans are going to be celebrating that Super Bowl forever.
Right.
Got my Cowboys this weekend. Sunday night. Big game for the NFC East.
1:03 to play. Jonathan Taylor breaks one for the 1st down. Pushed out at about the 23. With under a minute to go.
His vision, the cutback, all the way backside. And I thought he may get to the sidelines and be able to take it up the field. Runs out of real estate, but man, just the vision, the cutback. That play set up to go to the right. He bends it all the way back to the near sideline. A nice pickup on 1st down.
16 yards and all. Already at 136 for the afternoon. Going to add to the total here. Stopped at about the 26-yard line. Wisconsin always seems to pull some pretty good running back talent out of the state of New Jersey. Taylor, the latest.
And it shows you kind of how much they trust Jack Cohn right now. They're very
or not.
comfortable. Correct. They're very comfortable going into the half down 16-7. They're not even going to attempt to put the ball in the air or take any shots down the field. All 3 timeouts intact.
I guess their home run hitter is actually a running back here.
I understand the fact that it's listen, young quarterback, second ever start on the road. The last thing you want to do right now is turn the football over. I definitely understand that way of thinking, but you would have thought when they got that nice run on first down, got themselves from being so far backed up, maybe they take at least one shot, maybe a crossing route to one of their wide receivers, see if they can get something going down the field.
And this is a team, folks. Remember, they're 16-1, Dusty, in November. Paul Christ has been getting it done in this month. In 40 of his first 50 games, Cohen going to throw here, and he's picked off at the 45-yard line by Oruwariye. So they actually decide to let him throw it, and with 12 seconds to go, Penn State with a little opportunity here.
I guess that's why they weren't letting him throw the football. They want to go play action pass. Oruwariye does an excellent job continuing to seek. Sees the quarterback's eyes at the last second, makes a nice interception. Jack Cohen with his second turnover in the first half.
Tommy Stevens comes back in at quarterback. Remember, McSorley was shaken up a few plays ago. You take a shot here, Dusty, to get in field goal range or go all the way into the end zone?
I don't know if I go to the end zone. I'm taking a shot to get myself in better position, for sure.
Stevens going to look to throw and now takes off with it. Got to get out of bounds. And he just will with 3 seconds to go. A nice sprint by Tommy Stevens. And they're in field goal range for Jake Pinniger.
Pressure got home. They brought a blitz. It gets to Tommy Stevens. But he makes something out of nothing. Nothing's there initially. Steps up in the pocket. 6'5", 240, but he can flat out run in the open field. Outstanding pickup and getting out of bounds to set up a field goal attempt here before the half. Try to steal some points before they go in at the break.
From 44 yards out, and Coach Chris is going to try and ice Pinniger a little bit here. Not difficult to do on a 28-degree day. Folks, this season, for every field goal and extra point made by participating universities, Allstate will make a contribution to the university's General Scholarship Fund. Thank you, Allstate. With just 3 seconds to go, the question is, will Pinniger make it through those nets? He's hit his last 7 in a row. Tommy Stevens with that key run a moment ago for 20 yards to put them in range. They get a free one here. And remember, at the end of the quarter, folks, we'll get you to the studio for the Capital One halftime report.
Wisconsin, the second of the half. It'll be a 30-second charge timeout.
Tell you,
talk about trying to put a guy on ice.
He's already on ice, man.
On ice.
It's cold. Kicking to that wind's going to be tough. Had a chance to see Pinniger on his first try there. Came up quite a bit short. Definitely looked like that wind was pushing back against him.
Penn State trying to get some free ones here off that turnover. 30 degrees, feels like 19. I could tell Molly, when I heard her in her open, it sounded like she was at the dentist office, you know, when your mouth is a little frozen.
I don't know, man. She's been a trooper down there. I give it up to her.
Hey,
we got heaters up here with us. You got like a coat, gloves. I mean, you're acting like it's negative degrees outside.
Much love to Molly. She's fighting through it. Pinniger had it partially tipped at the line of scrimmage and blocked. So after a couple of timeouts, Coach Chris' strategy apparently at least a little bit effective as they blocked the field goal attempt from 44 yards out. Regardless, though, Stevens and McSorley will take Penn State into the locker room leading 16-7.
Sure, who got their hand on it inside? Maybe it was 97 Isaiah Loudermilk. I think it was 97 Isaiah Loudermilk. 6'7", 300 pounds, gets that big bear paw up for a big block.
That's the end of the first half of play. Folks, we'll be back after this message and a word from our ABC stations. On to Happy Valley, you're watching College Football on ABC, presented by Jared. It's part of Veterans Week on ABC, brought to you by USAA. And right now, Penn State leading 16-7, rallying with 16 consecutive points after falling behind 7-0. Mark Jones alongside Dusty Dvorak. We'll hear from Molly McGrath in just a few moments. This game started off in a flurry with a bang and Jonathan Taylor's 71-yard touchdown run. After that, it was all Penn State, though.
Yeah, early on, though, Jonathan Taylor, he got this thing going early and often. Home run capability, explosive playmaker. 3rd and short, he takes it 71 yards to the house. He had a $143 in the first half. Big half, the nation's leading rusher. Then it was the Penn State defense, Sharif Miller with a couple of sacks. Jack Cohn, the quarterback, not able to get anything going throwing the football. But the real question heading into the second half, how's Trace McSorley? Took a shot on that knee that was injured. Coming into the game, we knew that he might have some troubles. We did not see him the rest of that first half. It was Tommy Stevens.
And we'll hear from Molly after the kickoff. Get a little bit more. Fair catch called. 1st and 10. Touchback from the 25 as we go down to Molly for more on McSorley.
Well, Mark, James Franklin wouldn't give me an exact answer as to which quarterback will start in the second half. He said that he doesn't think Trace McSorley's injury is serious. He was on the bike loosening up in the locker room. He just wanted to see him move around a little bit in warm-ups. So he's going to look at him and see which quarterback is going to trot out for them in the second half.
McSorley very much the emotional leader of that team, but just watching him walk on the sidelines there, looks like he's favoring that knee just a little bit.
Warming up on the bike a little bit. See if he can give it a go. Throwing the ball very well early on prior to the injury.
Jack Koenig, quarterback, hands it off to Jonathan Taylor into the boundary. And Taylor picks up about 8 yards on the play. Oruwariye with the tackle. It was Oruwariye who had the interception near the end of the first half. As we take a look at the Pacific Life game summary so far, some of the pertinent numbers after the first half of play. Taylor with the 100-yard rushing game, again his 9th of the season. McSorley with the injury, and Wisconsin just 2 of 7 on 3rd downs. Cohn making his 2nd career start. 2nd on the road. Taylor straight ahead, picks up the 1st down and makes it out to the 40-yard line. Windsor making the tackle on the gain of 8.
Tough run inside from the running back, Jonathan Taylor. Not a whole lot going inside, as you're going to see him work his way right up the middle. Just kind of gets a little vision going away from the nose tackle, Windsor. I like how he just runs through the arm tackles, picks up a nice gain on 2nd down.
1st down and 10. He's on the sidelines. Deal now in a tailback. Taiwan Deal got a little bit of juice and speed of his own, and he's pushed out of bounds right around the 30. And Deal comes up lame, grabbing that hamstring.
Taiwan looking like the real deal on that run. He's been an outstanding number 2 running back this year for Jonathan Taylor. He's got great size. You see him with a nice bounce outside to the sidelines. Grabbing that hamstring. You hate to see that. But a big pickup with the Wisconsin Badger offense in great position here to start this second half.
And another Badger player down in the field. That's Deal being tended to. Just a Badger lifer. What do you make of the Badger way and the way that he's continued that running tradition?
I love it, man. It's about physical football at the point of attack. They're constantly good in the offensive line, tight end, and at running back. Play to your strengths. That's who Wisconsin football is. That's what they can recruit to. You showed me the graphic earlier, 16-1 in November. That's why when you can run the football, win the line of scrimmage, you can win a lot of games as the weather turns cold and we move into November.
Roshak in a tailback, takes the handoff, and brought down right at the line of scrimmage at about the 23. Tackle made by Sharif Miller. We've said Miller's name a lot here today, and his image really jumps off the screen when you watch film.
We had splash plays last year. It's consistency this year. Talking to the defensive coordinator, Brent Pry, the way he's approached film study, practice, he comes prepared, and he's really developed as a leader, holding players accountable on this Penn State football team, and one of the quality premier pass rushers in the Big Ten.
Second and long. Roshat leading the way, and nowhere to go. Stoned, stopped up front is Danny Davis. So Brent Fry's defense dials up a nice play. And we talk about coach, and it's a family affair. When you talk about a guy from the South, Altoona, PA, marrying a woman from, his bride is from Louisiana.
Got that Cajun food up here. Pennsylvania. He likes that.
Over the middle and caught. Wow, great job to hang on to the football by Danny Davis. And they're going to give him a spot just a yard short of the first.
There's pressure in his face as well. Yetur Gross-Matos, he comes inside, makes an inside move. Nice throw over the middle. Danny Davis. There's a good chemistry between Cone and Davis. Cone able to find him several times last year, fourth and probably less than a yard. It's like the go zone for Wisconsin.
Yeah, 5 and 9 on fourth downs.
The previous play is under further review. The ruling on the field that the runner was short to the line of game.
I think they're going to look at the spot of the previous play. We'll tell you more on the other side.
College football, presented by Jared on ABC, is brought to you by Ford. Built Ford proud. And USAA. Join us in saluting our veterans. Go to USAA.com/Veterans Day.
It is with a swelling of gratitude that we thank our veterans, both past and present. And on a personal note, want to send up prayers to my late cousin Carl Jones, who served this country, did a couple of tours. My cousin Janice as well, been overseas and done a tour as well.
From the bottom of my heart and all of our hearts, thank you, thank you, thank you. We can't tell you how much we appreciate your service and the freedoms we get to enjoy in this great country.
Yep. Amen.
So much respect for our military.
They changed the spot and made it first down and 10. Taylor, tough running, runs right at Nick Scott. You know, we talk about his speed. Dusty, we've seen him break several tackles here this afternoon. He goes 220 pounds. That's not light.
He's a full boat, man. I mean, you got the home run capability. We talk about the patience, the vision, runs through arm tackles, and he's a tough guy to get on the ground. Runs behind his pads, makes it that much more difficult to get a good, solid hit on him. That's why he's one of the premier running backs in all of college football, 2 straight years.
2nd and 5. Ran for almost 2,000 yards a season ago. On that pace again. But this time he'll have to settle for a loss. Gross-Matos making the tackle.
Well, Yetur Gross-Matos. How about this inside move? He's just going to come inside 67. John Dietzen. He's going to get in the backfield. Big time penetration on another tackle for loss. This guy is playing on another level the last several weeks. Coming into the game, he had 5 sacks, 7 tackles for loss in his last 3 games. When he can play on the other side of the football, penetrate, be disruptive, this Penn State defense is tough to deal with. Big time play on 2nd down.
3rd and 7. Cone incomplete at the 8. A little bit low, intended for A.J. Taylor, and he had him open. In comes the field goal unit.
Wide open in the flats. A.J. Taylor No one's around him. He's wide open. The ball comes out low, throws it into the ground. A.J. Taylor unable to go down and catch the football. Missed opportunity for the Wisconsin offense and a bad throw by Jack Cohn in the flats.
Gaglianone in to attempt this field goal. 7 of 10 on the season with a long of 42. And Gaglianone knocks it through to make it a 6-point football game with 9:45 to go in the third quarter. So a good opening drive to begin the third for the Wisconsin Badgers. Folks, get ready to learn something new with today's Aflac Game Fact. Paul Chryst, Aflac, is one of 3 coaches in Big Ten history to win 10-plus games in each of his first 3 seasons. Here's a name for you, Fielding Yost. Wow, that's going back.
Wouldn't have gotten that one, partner.
No. Urban Meyer, yeah, that was in our wheelhouse. Those 2 guys are the other 2. Paul Chryst, a former offensive coordinator at Wisconsin, following the footsteps and in the wake of Brett Bielema, and before that, Barry Alvarez. Great lineage and football tradition at the University of Wisconsin. I know you've done games there at Camp Randall, right on the...
Fantastic place, man. They like to jump around. I think he'd like to see 4 straight 10-plus win seasons, right?
Yeah.
Got to win today if you want to make that still a possibility for this season. Trace McSorley over there getting warmed up on the sideline. Still question if we're going to see him to start this second half. He went down late in the first half. Re-aggravated that knee injury. We saw Tommy Stevens putting his helmet on. Looks like he's going to give it a go. Start the second half for Penn State. That's huge news, partner.
Yeah. And when we met with him yesterday, you and Molly and I, he told us, guys, my knee is feeling as good as it has all season back to when it was prior to getting hurt. His mobility, a big part of his game. And the offensive package for Penn State. They squib down to the 18-yard line. Fumble! Ball came loose a little bit, but it looks like Penn State got it back. C.J. Thorpe was running it back, and C.J. was feeling a little too good carrying that football, Dusty. He fumbled it.
CJ was looking good initially. Got to have ball security, though.
Coach letting him know, hey, listen, why don't you just fall on it next time?
Looking good. Look at the big man. He's got a little moves, working to the outside. I can do this. Uh-oh. Ball's down. Nice job jumping on top of the football.
You've never been on kickoff return, right? Come on. Have you?
I've been on kickoff return.
Really?
I've never returned a kickoff. Those are 2 different things, partner. Come on.
All right. Yeah. Not even high school? That's when you did it, right? High school?
Oh, no. In the NFL, I was middle up back.
Okay, wow.
Back when they used to have the wedge.
Oh, wow. Back when. On the reverse, little jet sweep, actually. Hamler. Coach wouldn't be able to turn you off if you got your hands on that ball, though, right?
Just give me that pill, baby. I can do some things with it.
Man.
It's a nice open field tackle there by Scott Nelson, the safety. So happy to get him back. We take another shot. The lineman trying to play returner today. Scott Nelson, huge to get him back in this Wisconsin secondary. Quality open field tackle.
2nd down and 9. Little blitz coming. Picked up. And Sorley delivers a dart complete to DeAndre Tompkins. They're going to mark it a little bit short of that first down. First down marker at the 37. They're going to mark it out around the 36 or 35.
You mentioned the blitz. TJ Edwards, Ryan Conley coming across blitz. They're going to cross each other. Miles Sanders, the running back, such an undervalued pass protector. Excellent job stepping up and getting a key block to slow down TJ Edwards on the blitz.
And Sorley split out as a receiver. Stevens in a quarterback out of the shotgun.
A lot of quarterback run game here.
Sanders in motion. Stevens keeps it. And he's close to the first down. Nothing taken for granted here based on the spot of the last time they marked it on 3rd down. They ended up reversing it and giving the first down, and they move it back short of the first down.
We always want to know what it looks like from the coach's vantage point. James Franklin watching Tommy Stevens trying to fight for a first down.
And they're going to punt it. Came up a little bit short.
Big stop for that Wisconsin front. Tommy Stevens.
They're going to go for it on the fake. Goes to the up back, Jonathan Thomas. And that'll be enough for the first down and a late flag. So Franklin rolls the dice. And on the fake punt, they'll get the first down, if it stands.
Add to the play. Unsportsmanlike conduct. Defense, number 56. Just first of the game. 15-yard penalty. First down.
That's against Zach Bond.
How about James Franklin rolling the dice, being aggressive. Going to snap it to the center up back. Just gets that push in the middle. Follows his blockers. Legs are churning. Zach Bond with a little extracurricular after the play.
Jonathan Thomas with the nice run, the senior from Peabody, Mass. Clock running under 8 minutes to go in the third. Sorley hands it off to Sanders with nowhere to go. Stays on his feet, though, and makes it down to the 45-yard line. Gains about 2 on the play. Well, tonight right here on ABC, one of the hottest games of the season with playoff implications. ACC Atlantic battle between Trevor Lawrence and Clemson and Boston College, Chestnut Hill, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ABC. You can watch it on the app as well. Who do you like in the game?
I like Clemson. They're too good right now. Trevor Lawrence gives that offense another dimension. That defensive line is serious.
And Sorley keeps it. He gains about 4 on the play. Molly, what about you?
He went back in.
Okay.
What about you, Molly McGrath, Miss Boston College grad?
I'm excited for that one, Mark. That should be a good game. I'm hoping that we have Mother Nature on our side, the BC Eagles. We saw Clemson last week. They are a little too good, especially on offense. They're impossible to stop. But Trevor Lawrence hasn't played north of Virginia, and it's supposed to be cold tonight. So I'm hoping that rattles him a little bit as an Eagle fan.
Okay. I heard we
heard
and
the
our.
we. Yeah, you know. That's
okay, Molly.
Jay Dillon needs to be healthy.
We know who Molly's riding with tonight. Sanders out of the backfield makes the catch as we head back to the studio. We to the studio. All right, Matt, 6 minutes to go here. McSorley with a lot of time. A little bit of contact and a flag thrown at the 22. Scott Nelson ran over KJ Hamler, who was the intended receiver.
I think we're going to have holding on the offense and pass interference on the defense.
There's fouls on the play by both teams. Holding, offense, number 74. Pass interference, defense, number 9. Fouls will offset, replay, first down.
So let's do it again.
Yeah, Steven Gonzalez inside 74 got a hold of what I thought was Matt Henningsen, defensive lineman. Scott Nelson arrived just a tad bit too early. Working on Loudermilk down here low. Loudermilk goes down. Draws a flag.
Sanders over the right side, broke a tackle, and got the first down for the Nittany Lions. Ran around and over Fayon Hicks.
Been really impressed with Miles Sanders today. Patience as well, just waits for it to open up. Inside zone, then he bounces to the right for a nice pickup.
And Sorley hands it off again. Miles Sanders again. We want people to put some respect on his name here today. Everybody talking about Jonathan Taylor. Sanders piling up some pretty good numbers 13 rushes, total of 92 yards, closing in on 100.
And he's a complete back, right? Good in protection, catches the ball in the backfield, can play all 3 downs for this offense.
Stevens in at quarterback. Check that, both of them in. And now McSorley lines up behind center with Stevens beside him. That's a lot of eye candy, partner, for a 1-yard gain.
It is, and boy, Trace McSorley felt that one. T.J. Edwards coming downhill, delivers a big blow on Trace McSorley, but that's one of the things with Tommy Stevens. He'll line up at tight end, he'll line up at running back, he'll line up at quarterback. He offers this offense some versatility that really makes it difficult to prepare as a defensive coordinator, defensive staff.
A lot of different looks. 3rd down and 7. Little trips left formation. Sorley gets rid of it, incomplete. Bounced short to Hamler. And that'll bring about a 4th and 7 for the Nittany Lions. He was feeling a little bit of heat from his backside.
That's exactly right. Pressure got to Trace McSorley. Had to get rid of the football just a tad bit too soon. Pass short for his intended target, K.J. Hamler, working in the middle of the field.
Jake Pinniger now in to attempt this field goal from 42 yards out. Connected earlier from 49, then had one blocked from 44. And this one just makes it. He doesn't get a lot of elevation on his kicks today, but he's 2 for 3 nonetheless. So they're able to convert on the key fake punt on 4th down and get some points out of this drive. A little over 4 minutes to go in the 3rd. A game of inches, always between Badgers and Lions. Just like Chris, very breezy and cold too. Fair catch called at the 2-yard line. It'll come out 1st down and 10. Let's take a look at Wendy's Fresh Take, brought to you by Wendy's.
Clemson, Alabama, and those 2 teams, it just feels like they're on a collision course for one another once again. Notre Dame, I think the best chance they have to get beat maybe next week against Syracuse. Michigan still got to deal with Ohio State. Last game of the regular season. I got to be honest with you, though, partner. I don't think any of the top 4 lose. I know that sounds crazy. It's November. A lot of crazy things happen, but I had to pick it right now. Those top 4, I think they went out and advance on.
Our fresh look by Wendy's. Taylor battling out to the 29. You surprised that Clemson's percentage was higher than Alabama's?
No, because the ACC. Okay. I think the ACC is the easier path. The SEC more difficult. They still have to play Auburn. They got Mississippi State tonight. They'll still have to play Georgia in an SEC championship game. So I think that road's tougher to navigate than what Clemson has to the ACC. I'll tell you what, though. Michigan, a team that put them things on both of these teams.
He did.
They are playing some great football, especially at defense. I've talked about it like every week, but as good as anybody in college football right now.
Harbaugh really breaking through this year against top-ranked teams. On the jet sweep, Pryor stopped almost at the line of scrimmage, bringing up a 3rd down, a little under 3:20 to go here in the 3rd quarter. Oruwariye on the tackle.
Oruwariye, excellent job as a corner, getting off the block and making the tackle on a jet sweep in the open field. That's what you want out of your cornerbacks in those situations. Not just to be a cover guy, but also be a physical tackler. Big time play by the senior corner.
6-1 out of Tampa, Florida. 3rd down and 5. Cone looking to pass under heat. And tackled back at the 25-yard line by Robert Windsor. Good pressure first initially by Sharif Miller. And then Windsor finished him off.
This is how the edge rush can help the inside guy. This play is made by Sharif Miller. I want you to watch him come off the edge, but it's right up the middle where Windsor is going to be able to make him pay. Watch Sharif Miller just dip, rip, get up the field, force the quarterback up, and then your nose tackle is getting good inside push, is able to get the sack.
Connor Allen with the punt. And back at the 33-yard line, it's Tompkins. Tackled at about the 38, 5 yards on the return. With 2:08 to go, our Week 10 Monday Night Football matchup has Odell Beckham Jr., Saquon Barkley, who's to do some things here, and the Giants in San Francisco taking on the 49ers. Nick Mullins gets another start after his incredible performance last week against the Raiders. 8:15 Eastern, 5:15 Pacific on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and the ESPN app. You can watch anywhere. Coverage begins with Monday Night Countdown at 6. Sanders cuts it up. Broke through. Out to the 40. Sanders all the way down to the 30-yard line.
Big hole off the right side. Again, Miles Sanders just kind of picking his way, and then when he sees it, he explodes through the hole right here. Look at him see that big hole, and then it's making people miss in the open field. It's been fantastic for this offense today.
Gets another opportunity now. Sanders over 100 yards rushing on the day. 2nd down and 8. 123, a healthy 8.2 average. Always interesting, Dusty, sorry, when you're filling in after the guy, coming in as the guy after the guy. Saw Saquon Barkley's name on the promo. We'll see him tomorrow on Monday Night Football. Connolly on the tackle.
Yeah, I mean, a guy like Saquon Barkley, I mean, was just an amazing college player, an athletic freak. He's continuing to do the same thing for the New York Giants. It is tough to step in and be that next guy, but Miles Sanders has been fantastic for this team so far this year. And I really think an undervalued player and what he brings both athletically, and now that he's been in there throughout the season, his leadership a key cog for this team.
Sorley looking to pass it, now takes off. Down to the 26-yard line. About 3 yards short of the first down. Scott Nelson with a nice tackle. Brings up a 4th down, and a Wisconsin player shaken up on the field.
This is the other thing that he does. Watch 24. Pick up this blitz of Ryan Conley right there. I mean, these are the things that he does. It's not just running the football. I know they don't pick up the first down, but if you watch the tape of Miles Sanders and you watch him on 3rd down, when teams want to pressure, when they want to bring linebackers or safeties, he will step up and stone them and allow Trace McSorley that time to get the football down the field or to get out and pick up what he can with his legs.
Yeah, it's not a sexy play, but an important one for the overall success on that, right?
Absolutely.
It's Scott Nelson, the starting safety, shaken up on that play.
Been battling injuries for quite some time now. Just hasn't been able to stay healthy. Finally was able to get back on the field today. Talking with Jim Leonard earlier in the week, the defensive coordinator for Wisconsin. He was very excited to get Scott Nelson back on the field. Said he's been a real playmaker for them. I think the 2nd time today he's been down, a little bit nicked up.
There's a look at Leonard, the defensive coordinator, former Badger himself, former player, and had a nice career in the NFL.
From walk-on to All-American, and he parlayed that into a 9-10-year run in the National Football League. Kind of epitomizes what the Wisconsin Badger program is all about.
Great player development, and Jim Leonard, a pretty fantastic athlete back in the day. 4th down and 4. Vinegar going to try and attempt this field goal.
Timeout. Penn State. Their first and a half. It'll be a 30-second charge. Timeout.
Nittany Lions called a timeout. Well, Penn State's original colors, folks, get this, were pink and black. That's right, dating back to 1887. They were changed to the more familiar blue and white in 1890. But I think our guys on the field today would have looked good rocking the pink and black.
I don't know. I think they look pretty good with the navy and white. I like these classic uni looks, man. I really do. I like the fact that they haven't changed. Well, obviously they changed in the 1890s. Right. But they haven't changed.
No name on the back?
No, man.
Come on, man.
Black cleats, no name on the back.
Put my name on the back, Coach.
I like it. Hey, by the way, that timeout there was so that they could get this wind at their back before they switch fields at the end of the quarter.
The strategy involved from 45. Pinniger going to try and bend it. And that one got up in the air, but short. Barely. He's made 2 field goals today by mere inches. This one fell on the other side of the ledger. He gave it a pretty good ride. Now 2 of 4 today.
His other kicks have been so low. This one kind of gets up, but it doesn't get out. Game of inches. That time, a few inches too short.
So Wisconsin has it 1st and 10 from the 27. This was earlier a line drive. Not easy to kick in this kind of weather either. Molly McGrath reported at the top of the show how the winds were gusting down there a little bit. Got a flag on the play.
False start. Offense. Number 66. 5-yard penalty. First down.
I'm going to go back to the Penn State uniforms. You like the plain look, right?
I like it all. I mean, listen, I don't mind if you want to have a little razzle-dazzle, you want to have 15 different uniform combinations, that's fine.
You got to have a little drip and some swag, man. A little more than that.
But everyone's kind of got drip and swag now. I think it's unique, the fact that that's who they are, and they stand by that. So, you know, I don't hate on many uniforms, but I appreciate and really like what Penn State does. How they go about the business.
I got a traditional guy beside me, folks. Love him.
Old school.
Taylor out beyond the 30. I don't know about those black cleats, though. Black cleats make you look slow.
Come on, man. Get out of here with
they
that.
make you look slow,
I don't
Dusty.
know about that. Come on, man. You crazy. Black cleats make you look fast.
Maybe some nice white
Those
cleats.
Nittany Lions don't look slow. Miles Sanders looks slow to you?
White makes you look a little bit faster on the cleats. Back after this message in a word.
You need something to make you look fast. When you are fast, it don't matter, Jones.
Back after a word for our ABC stations.
Wisconsin down by 9, but their running backs are banged up. Jonathan Taylor running okay, but walking gingerly on the sideline. He's had his ankle retaped multiple times. And Taiwan Deal is doubtful to return with a right leg injury, Mark.
Wow, they're really going to depend on Taylor on that ankle. And we got a flag down on the first play of the 4th quarter.
Snap infraction. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Folks, you're watching the Big Ten on ABC. From Happy Valley, Mark Jones, Dusty Dvorak, Molly McGrath.
You know, back to Molly's point, good thing Wisconsin very deep at the running back. We know about Jonathan Taylor, Taiwan Deal dealing with the hamstring, but Garrett Groshek, the 3rd down running back, very capable, quality back for this Wisconsin offense. Right tackle moved
They're going to
early.
blow it dead again.
79 got out a touch too soon.
False start. Offense. Number 79. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
That's this attacking front of Penn State. That's a factor there. They've been getting beat quite a bit in passing situations, so David Edwards trying to get a head start, get himself back in position.
And A.J. Taylor at the other end of this pass was like, man, I can't believe that you guys are offside. You took my touchdown away. They back it up, 2nd and 17. Cone plays it safe. In the flat, it's complete to Jake Ferguson, the backup tight end, with his first catch of the afternoon out to the 27-yard line.
Another well-rounded tight end for Wisconsin. It's kind of what they do. They're like a tight end factory. Fumagalli leaves last year. Jake Ferguson, a redshirt freshman, really having a quality season both in the blocking game and being able to be a target in the pass game for this offense. Big 3rd down for Wisconsin.
Got to get out to the 37.
Pass rush has been ferocious for Penn State so far today.
Reef Miller has gotten to the quarterback a couple of times. Cone on the run. And wide wisely throws it out of bounds, so the heat got to him. And good coverage on his receivers. Nittany Lions begin the fourth quarter with a win defensively.
It's outstanding coverage down the field. No one's open for Jack Cohn. And as you mentioned, the rush gets there. Shaka Toney coming off the edge. Jack Cohn's able to navigate, keep the play alive, move around in the pocket, but no one comes open down the field. He's got to flush to his right and get rid of the football. Quality stand by the Penn State defense once again.
Connor Allen punting from his own 13-yard line for the Badgers. Tompkins watches it bounce out of bounds at about the 46-yard line, where the Nittany Lions are going to start with pretty good field position. Let's take a look at our Pacific Life game summary. Jonathan Taylor went 71 yards on the third play of the game for the Badgers. But since that time, it's been mostly Penn State. They rallied for 16 consecutive points. Miles Sanders putting up some good numbers as well.
Penn State defense, 3 sacks. They had 29, lead the Big Ten coming in today. They can flat out get after the quarterback, and Jack Cohn under a lot of pressure all day today.
Sanders running it. Picks up about 4 on the play. Miles Sanders, 5'11" junior from Pittsburgh, PA. More comfortable game by game. The guys on the team, especially on the offense, really have a lot of respect for him. Meanwhile, Ohio State leading their game against Michigan State 7-6 in other Big Ten action. Sanders over the left side, running over Bates and Gonzalez, tackled by Ryan Connolly.
Ryan Connolly's been all over the field today, a tackling machine. Between him and TJ Edwards, they do the bulk of the run defense for this football team. Ryan Connolly, instinctive downhill. A lot of quality tackles here today.
3rd and 2. Sorley hands it off, and Sanders gets another first down. Now at 133 yards rushing for the day on 18 carries.
Good read there by Trace McSorley. You know, that mesh point where they put the football in the running back's stomach, and he makes that read. He rides it so long, has that patience, allows the blocks to set up, and Miles Sanders scoots for the first down.
Sorley passing complete this time into the boundary. Tompkins in a nice move and tight roped us down his way down the sidelines for another yard or 2. Tompkins, one of those rare seniors on that Penn State roster, sets up a 2nd and 2. Nittany Lions leading by 9. Ricky Slade, one of his rare carries today. They're going to mark it just a little bit shy of that first down. Take one more look at the Big Ten standings. Big game in Iowa City tonight. Northwestern and Iowa.
You mentioned it, Ohio State, Michigan State, and East Lansing, 7-6 Buckeyes lead as it relates to the east side of the bracket. Wisconsin still very much alive if they can pull a comeback here in the fourth quarter. That Western Crown.
Slade again, stopped up nicely by that Wisconsin front. Good penetration on the right side of that line. Ryan Connolly, a guy whose name we've called a lot here recently. The first one to arrive, Dusty.
Absolutely, coming downhill right now in your face. Look at these linebackers. Going to be a cross stunt. Edwards kind of hits him first. Connolly actually kind of gets blocked. Kind of falls on top of Ricky Slade, but a huge stop.
They're going to go for it here on 4th and short. Sorley's still on the field.
Some confusion as far as who was supposed to be on the field.
6 on the play clock. And Sorley hands it off, and a nice run by Sanders to get the first down. Got through that initial wave. State gambles and converts on fourth. Sorley fires complete to his tight end. Fryermuth with the catch. Picks up 6.
Watch this right here, 53. He's going to come down. Look at 74, Steven Gonzalez stone him as the blitzing linebacker buries him, gets him on the ground. A nice run by Miles Sanders on a key 4th down conversion.
On 2nd and 6. Wow, what a lead by Sanders. The ball came loose, but he was ruled down. Good block up front by Fryermuth. Boy, Sanders has done that, I think, twice now today. Might have a hurdles background in track and field. Look at this.
Sanders getting up. Be careful, though. He's coming down. Ooh. A little painful on the way down, but man, he's had quite the afternoon. Splitting up outside wide now as a wide receiver.
They go empty here on 1st and goal. Sanders sets in the backfield. Takes the handoff. Ball came loose again. And this time they're going to say it's a fumble. Recovered by Wild Goose. And Wisconsin takes over. Ball was ripped out.
Wow, huge play by Wisconsin. They had to get a takeaway. They had to get a stop. How about Andrew Van Ginkel? Gonna get the lawnmower started. Gonna rip the football out. And Wisconsin, they needed a play. They got a play. Turn of events here in State College, Pennsylvania, a ruling of a fumble on the field, and that's been overturned. They say knee down, ball was still in Sanders' hands, then it gets ripped out. Penn State retains possession. Huge call here in the 4th quarter in Happy Valley.
2 quarterbacks on the field, Stevens and McSorley. McSorley lining up to take the snap out of the shotgun. Stevens to his left. And McSorley is going to keep it with nowhere to go. You know, on that last run that was ruled a down, he was down. Miles Sanders, as a result, goes over 1,000 yards rushing on the season as he comes back into the ball game. 157 of those coming this afternoon.
He's been fantastic today so far. Running the football, blocking, catching the ball in the backfield. Andrew Van Ginkel almost caught him, but his knee was down before that ball came loose.
3rd down and goal. Sanders stopped up just short of the 5-yard line on 4th down. Well, at the top of the afternoon, we told you because of the weather and the roads, the crowd was slow to get here. It has since subsequently filled out wonderfully in what is now the 3rd largest city in the state of Pennsylvania. Whenever they have a football game here, actually, 3rd behind Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. Attendance today, 105,396. Vinegar in for yet another field goal. This one gets up in the air and is good. From 23 yards out, he's 3 of 5 today. And Coach Franklin's team goes up 22-10 with 7:23 to play. In a rematch of the 2016 Conference Championship game, Penn State leading by 12.
College football on ABC is presented by Jared. Dare to be devoted. In part by Pacific Life. Experience the power of Pacific. And Coke Zero.
One of the old mascots named Old Coley here at Penn State. A mule that was bought for $190 in 1863. He was a multitasker as he also hauled limestone blocks, which were instrumental in the building, the old iconic Old Main building on campus. Coley looked like some of those horses I bet on at Calder Raceway and lost some money on. Crookshank returns it out to the 26-yard line.
I think I like the current day mascot of Penn State more so than Old Coley. No disrespect to Old Coley.
You like the Nittany Lion?
I like the Nittany Lion, man. Getting carried around by the students. Yeah, gotta love that.
The mule.
Old Coley wasn't getting carried up in the stands back in the day.
Mule is it's a tough sell to sell a mule, you know.
But they give Old Coley his due. He's got his nice spot right there. Very well represented. But give me the Nittany Lion.
First and 10, a little over 7 minutes to go. Pass complete to the tight end. Ferguson, his second catch, is good for a first down. Let's check in with the studio. Wow, surprised at a low-scoring game like that?
Not surprised at all. That's Big Ten football. That's the way Michigan State wants it.
It's November. Backside pressure. Ball loose. Picked off by Miller. Out of the air. And it comes loose again. At the 15-yard line. Who's got it? Gross Matos with the heat. And the ball came loose, and Miller caught it out of the air.
There's a fumble by the quarterback. It was recovered by the defense, then fumbled again and recovered by Wisconsin. First and 10 from the spot of the recovery.
All that action, and it's Badgers football again.
Well, it's a huge break for Wisconsin, but how about Yetur coming off the edge? I want you to watch him win one-on-one matchup against the offensive tackle. Jay dips that shoulder, gets his hands off, dips the shoulder. It's actually an interception by Miller as he caught the ball before it ever hit the ground. An outstanding edge rush by Yetur. Gross Matos continues to be a huge disruptive force for this defense.
I want to get back to that in just a minute, Dusty. 6.5 minutes to go here. Back at the 15, first and 10 Badgers. Taylor still on his feet, picks up about 9. Let's go back to that last play. We saw Gross Matos. He goes 259. Miller, the other defensive end, at 260. Is speed winning the battle against size today?
That's exactly right. It is speed, and that's what they are. They're long. They're both 6'5". They utilize their length, but it's their quickness off the football and that speed initially that's really helped them dominate in the pass rush game today.
Groshak stopped by Gross Matos. Yeah, because we were talking about it in our meetings yesterday when we were watching film and in with the coaches. It's about them getting off blocks, right? Those Wisconsin blocks.
Well, getting to an edge, right?
Yeah.
I mean, when this is a gap defense. They play on edges, right? They're disruptive. They get up the field. They're not going to be thick and hold on to blocks. They want to get off of blocks. They want to get up the field. They want to get on edges, and they've had a lot of success doing that here this afternoon.
3rd and 1. Badgers down by 12. They need to score here on this drive.
And no hurry, by the way, either. Taking their sweet time.
Play clock all the way down to 3, and now they finally call a timeout. I think they would show a little bit more expedience with 5:14 to play. Well, SportsCenter tonight after Cal USC on ESPN. Stan and Neil, Herbie, Chris reveal their top 4 plus Tua's incredible season inside the numbers, the impact of Steph Curry's injury with Golden State. SportsCenter after Pac-12 football on ESPN and the ESPN app. SportsCenter guys, you love that Joe Namath coat.
Yeah, man. Big third down. Extra offensive lineman end.
We got the jumbo package in. Taylor lowers his hat and picks up the first down, keeping that drive alive.
Pull Michael Dieter, the left guard, get him out in front. Michael Dieter making his 51st consecutive start. A guy who started at center, he started at tackle. Now he's at left guard. Really one of the linchpins in this Badger offensive line.
Taylor goes to the sidelines, no doubt for a brief break. Cone quick out pattern is complete. Davis stays on his feet, breaks another tackle, and makes it out to the 40. So Danny Davis with a nice catch and run.
They got to play with some tempo now. They got to get up on the line of scrimmage. Jack Cohn needs to have a play ready, get them lined up, and play with a little sense of urgency here with the final 4:30 ticking down. And a surprise Davis didn't find the sidelines and get out of bounds before he was brought down.
14-yard gain on the play. Groshak. Going to mark this good for about a 6-yard gain. Jonathan Taylor still on the sideline. Surprisingly, we heard Molly report earlier that his ankle was a little dinged up. He wasn't quite 100%.
Well, remember, he doesn't pass protect well, he doesn't catch it well. He comes off in situations like this.
2nd and 5. Cone. Incomplete. Intended for Davis again. And it's 3rd and 5 with 4:05 to play. Wisconsin with 2 timeouts remaining. Look at the discrepancy in the number of plays today. Rush yards about even, but Penn State a distinct advantage through the air.
One of the problems for Wisconsin when they've dropped back to pass, there's been a lot of pressure today from this Penn State defensive line. Sharif Miller, Vitor Gross-Matos, both having big days. We'll see if they get to the quarterback here.
3rd and 5, they hand it off to Groshak. And it's 4th down. You'd think they got to go for it at this point.
Because you do have to. It's absolutely go time. Conservative play call on 3rd and 5.
Jack Cohn making his 2nd career start. His players kept yelling at him in the huddle in his previous one that, hey, we got your back. Don't worry about it. We'll lift you up. They need a collective effort here. 4th and 2. Stands in the pocket and incomplete. And a late flag thrown at the 45-yard line. Tariq Castro Fields, the DB.
Defense, number 5, 15-yard penalty, automatic 1st down.
He tried to hit Danny Davis on a slant. It looked like 5 Tariq Castro Fields wrapped around him. See the slant coming inside. He's got that left arm kind of wrapped around him. A lot of contact. Yeah, he's got the right arm wrapped around him. Good call by the official. He's there early. Had him look.
Pass complete again. This is Pryor. Pryor brought down at the 40. Let's go back to the studio. Back here, under 3 minutes to go, Matt. Pass is incomplete. Intended for Ferguson. Working against Taylor.
Pass thrown behind the intended target. Jake Ferguson unable to reach back and grab it. That ball almost picked off by Garrett Taylor. Wisconsin's got to be more cognizant. Situational football. When they're getting the football on the sidelines, they got to get out of bounds to try to stop this clock. We've seen several times on this drive, Wisconsin receivers had the opportunity to get out, if they stay in the field of play and the clock continues to roll.
This is the 10th play of the Badger drive. From the 39, 3rd and 5. Cone incomplete. Almost intercepted by number 6, Cam Brown. So it's 4th down. They'll go for it again.
Well, Jake Ferguson, he's kind of running a little dig over the middle and gave up on that route. Cam Brown in great position. Jack Cohn throws that football into the ground. But needs a little bit more help from his redshirt freshman tight end to continue running his route and work more to get open and be a target for the quarterback.
Kendrick Pryor split wide to the top of your screen. On 4th and 5. And the Badgers are going to burn a timeout. They've got one left.
Wisconsin. That's their 2nd and a half. It'll be a full charge.
We'll be back right after this. Welcome back, everyone. Today's unexpected outcome brought to you by ExxonMobil. Wisconsin scholarship players who began their careers as walk-ons. There's a look at the list. And they need help from Scully players and walk-ons right now. All hands on deck. Down by 12 points. Late in the fourth quarter. Fourth and 5.
Penn checking at the line. Man coverage.
Got the protection down the sideline and incomplete. Not even close. Oruwariye in on the coverage of Danny Davis.
Took a shot down the field on the go route by Danny Davis, but outstanding coverage outside by Oruwariye. Today, the defense has been a key for Penn State. Those defensive ends, aggressive. Sharif Miller, outstanding pass rusher. A couple of sacks for him today. They have not had an answer for these two guys, Yetur Gross-Matos. But the big sack fumble, Sharif Miller gets it. How about that big third down stop? Disruptive, penetrative. Told you guys up back on Monday, they got two real dudes up front of the defensive line. And they showed up and they played well against one of the better offensive lines in all of college football for Wisconsin.
In a big way. Sanders on the run that time. The Badgers down to just one singular remaining timeout. In this battle between Nittany Lions and Badgers, the predacious yet protective Lions guarding the home field. And now just looking to burn some clock here with a little over 2 minutes to go. And a new quarterback in, that's Tommy Stevens. McSorley is split to the top of your screen. And a fumble! Wow, that's not what you want to see if you're Penn State. And the Badgers say they have it. No official signal. And it's Wisconsin football. An egregious turnover. And the Badgers are alive.
Wisconsin.
James Franklin is not happy, and I don't blame him. Just trying to milk clock, run it out. You get a fumbled snap. What a huge mistake here late in this football game. Oh, bad snap.
That hit Sanders as he was coming across the formation.
Wow, terrible snap. Michael Minute. Here's James Franklin on the side. He's disgusted as he looks at a late turnover to give Wisconsin a new life in this ballgame.
Let's see if Cone takes a shot here on the first play. 1st and 10 from the 30.
Danny Davis, guy he likes to go to down low.
Cone given time, incomplete through the hands of Ferguson as tight end. Stops the clock with 1:40 to go. Wisconsin with a timeout remaining. Boy, they need receptions. They need catches. That went right through his hands.
Pass just a little bit high and to the right. But that's a catch you've got to be able to come down with if you're Jake Ferguson.
Second and 10. Pryor split out top. Groshak on the run. A nice gain all the way down to the 10 with 1:34 to go. So the Badgers making a late run here. Jonathan Taylor still on the sidelines.
Jack Cohn's got to get lined up, got to get them going. We're off the right side. Penn State playing more of a pass coverage defense. Millerfield wide open.
Gain of 20. Cone sacked back at the 19. Robert Windsor, the Wisconsin native who was pumped up, gassed up by his coach all week, facing his home state team.
Take a look at Windsor here working on the middle, on the center. Ooh, just comes with an arm over, inside move, and he gets to the quarterback quickly. You can get inside pressure. It's on the quarterback so fast. Nowhere for Cone to go. Second sack of the day for the nose tackle, Robert Windsor.
Hey, right here on ABC, this one's got college football playoff implications. ACC Atlantic battle. Clemson, number 2. Number 17, Boston College in Chestnut Hill, Mass. 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific on ABC. Also available on the ESPN app, so you can watch the game anywhere. Defensive coordinator Coach Pry was telling us that Robert Windsor, who had the sack a moment ago, he's been gassing him up by saying, "Hey, Robert, I've been reading the message boards and Twitter.
They've been talking trash on you. You're going to get dominated." A couple of sacks today. Looks like some of that false criticism paid dividends here today.
Wisconsin native with a big play a moment ago, and that is incomplete by a mile with 1:12 to play.
The ball got caught up in the wind. Kind of fluttered on Jack Cohn. Not even close to his intended target. A.J. Taylor outside.
How much does it hurt that Jonathan Taylor's not in the ballgame right now for Wisconsin?
Well, I mean, it definitely hurts. I mean, best runner in all of college football. We haven't seen him much of this fourth quarter.
3rd and goal.
In passing situations, though, a lot of times you don't even see him on radio. Something he's going to have to improve on moving into next year.
Cohn completes it, but a great tackle coming up from his corner spot. John Reed on Groshak, and no timeouts remaining. They've got to move expeditiously here. With great purpose, under a minute to go, 4th down, Wisconsin.
Set up the screen right there. Outstanding open field tackle by John Reed to get Groshek down. No sense of urgency here in these final couple possessions for Wisconsin.
Cohn into the end zone, picked off. Nick Scott, the senior, one of just 3 senior starters, with a big play to put the icing on this. He's the one that said we win together or we lose together, but we don't point fingers. And he puts a period on it, his 3rd interception of the season.
Nick Scott reading the quarterback's eyes the entire way. You'll see him up here, top of your screen, as a deep safety. Trying to throw up the seam. And once again, Cohn throws behind his intended target. An easy interception for the senior Nick Scott. What an impressive young man he was when we sat with him yesterday, Jonesy.
Real cerebral player whose dad is a Harvard professor. Said he liked watching Marcus Allen play the position when he was here. Another Penn State player who's now with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So Coach Franklin will see his team improve to 7-3.
Nice.
Wisconsin's division hopes take a bit of a hit here with this loss.
Nice gutsy win today by Penn State and James Franklin. The quarterback was banged up coming in. He took a shot on the knee, but Trace McSorley, the tough, competitive guy that he is, he found a way to will his team to victory. Miles Sanders was huge, and the defense for Penn State, they rose to the challenge today and really did a nice job against this Badger offense.
And for Penn State, Dusty, a chance to purge the odious taste of that loss against Michigan last week out of their collective mouths. 22-10, the final score.
The only way to feel better about a bad loss, and as you said, get that taste out of your mouth, get back on the field and play better football.
Let's go downstairs to Molly with the quarterback, Trace McSorley.
Trace, you went down on that right knee again in this game. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. It just kind of got bent up. Nothing big. For a second there, it hurt, but got to loosen back up, and I'm all good.
Did you feel any limitations in the game?
No, I actually feel the whole game I felt pretty good other than that time.
Miles Sanders, now a 1,000-yard rusher on the season. He was hurdling over defenders at times. What did he bring to the game today?
He just brought an attitude. He brought a mentality. He was going to go and get rushing yards. I was happy to see him just go out there. He was playing fast and just trusting his own ability. You see someone that jumping over guys like that, just trusting themselves. You love seeing that, especially at a guy like Miles getting his opportunities and taking advantage of them.
You talked to us about finishing the season the right way. How did your team do that today and do things the right way?
We got the win today, so that just puts us one step closer to our ultimate goal.
All right, congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
All right, Molly, thanks a lot. Nick Scott right there, number 4, putting the finishing touches on the win for Penn State, their 7th win of the season. Our final score, Penn State wins it. Stay tuned for College Football Scoreboard next on ABC. For Molly McGrath, Dusty Dvorak, and our entire talented crew. I'm Mark Jones. Right now, we send you to the studio for College Football Scoreboard with Kevin Agandi. So long from Happy Valley.